Hi, I'm Renee Smith.
And I'm Tammy Fellers, and we're math consultants at ESSDACK in Hutchinson, Kansas.
Today we have two decks that we have created for the pre-K and K students, and these are all going to make puzzles if they are done correctly.
Absolutely.
And so each of the decks comes with a set of mats so the child can do a variety of different skills. One of them would be just matching.
So we'll show you this matching, and then we'll show you some other mats that goes with it.
Okay.
Our first deck we're going to start with is the knowing numbers decks. And so a student is in this first mat is simply going to match, and as they match, they flip their card over, and if they do it correctly, you can see on the back that it creates
A puzzle.
and the puzzle's put together correctly.
Okay.
So each one of the decks, and there are 8 of these decks, and it comes with 4 mats. A matching mat.
And then a numeral mat.
So now, as I put the chairs, I have to know 4, and I have to know what 4 looks like.
Right. And on this particular puzzle, because we're starting with the numbers 0 to 5 and keeping it small, there are some duplicates. So students might put it on the wrong 4 to begin with and flip it over and see that it isn't created correctly, and then they're going to have to do some adjustment. Then we also have tally marks.
The word mat.
And finally, a computation, so that they have to now solve 1 plus 2 and find a picture that has 3 items on it.
Right. And what is really nice on this one is how there are 2 4s. This picture really looks like 2 plus 2, and it matches up with 2 plus 2. The other 4 picture
Kittens.
was 1 plus 3, and so
It looks like 1 plus 3.
1 plus 3.
There you go.
So it comes with all of those different pieces in that.
Right. Included in those different types of puzzles, we have...
So this first one was pictorial.
Right. And the next one is more of a dot patterns on, like on dice, so that children learn to subbatize those rather than always having to count them. We also did the traditional tens frames as well as double tens frames.
Okay.
And another set is the missing number set, because we know that's sometimes difficult for students. We did this so that the missing number sometimes was in the end position, and then sometimes it's in the middle, so that students have to know that counting sequence in the proper order. And then another potential one is with the base 10 representation. And so we have a variety of different ones. That's not quite all of them, but it kind of gives you an idea of what's included in all those different puzzle forms. The nice thing is, one puzzle then can be used over and over throughout the year, depending on what skill level your students are to, whether they just need to be able to match correctly, all the way up to computation.
Absolutely.
So that's the knowing numbers deck.
When you get to the tally marks, or you start teaching your students about tally marks, I can pull that same deck out I used before and grab my tally mark mat to go with it.
The second deck that is along this same line is about patterns and shapes. And so we've just chosen 2 of those to show you some of the kinds of things you can do with both patterning and shapes. And so we started just with geometric shapes, but we're doing the pattern activity.
Right, we're doing the pattern activity. So what is the next shape in it? And it's a triangle facing that direction. And so once again, as I cover all of these up, sorry,
that's okay.
Struggle talking and doing my solving at the same time.
There you go.
Oh, hey, this one's helpful because we didn't. They're kind of in order.
Did I not? I didn't mix them up enough.
Thanks, Renee.
You're welcome.
So again, they're going to make a picture. So that one is just finding the next shape in the pattern.
Right.
We also have a map that is continue the sequence, so you're going to find the next 3 shapes in that.
Then, again, there are several different decks of cards and that make the puzzles that are just patterning like that, and so they will have the same kinds of mats. But then when we get to the shape portion of the deck, we have different mats. We have a mat that is the actual shape itself, so they're doing a matching type activity. They also have to learn the shape names in kindergarten, and so we have the words. But I wanted to have us do this one where we're actually matching this shape to a real world object. And sometimes they're 2D shapes and sometimes they're 3D. So I'm going to give you some of these and I'll do some of them and you do some of them.
Okay.
I have the square. So
I have the rectangle.
And I have a cylinder. So these are mixed up.
Yeah, and I have a sphere.
And then I have the cone.
And then I have the cube.
And I have a triangle. And finally I have the circle. And so there we go. We have another puzzle completed. And so again, each of these come with a variety of different mats so that like on the first ones with knowing numbers, you can pull them out at different times throughout the year, depending on whether your children just need the 2D shapes or whether they're already learning the 3D, and so you can combine the activity like this was.
So potentially, both of these decks, I believe, have 8.
Nope, this one has 9. We actually stuck you get a bonus deck in this one.
So, I mean, this has 9 different sets of these that make a puzzle. However, within each one of those,
you have 2 to 3 mats.
You have 2 to 3 mats. So it can be used multiple times throughout the school year.
As always, we include a task sheet with all of our decks, and so we hope that will help you out with some ideas for accountability and ways to make sure that your students are doing the activity correctly. Thanks for joining us.